Also have a severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued for southern McMinn and southern Monroe counties. So most of you, it is heavy rain, it is frequent lightning, it's very noisy. But at this point, I would say just if you don't have to go anywhere, don't. One of our big concerns was this heavy rain causing some ponding on the roads. We do have flood advisories coming along Meigs, Wright, Bledsoe into Roane County, West Knox County, and southern Anderson County. That means flooding is possible. Now, our other alert that we have here, as I mentioned, in the southern edge, kind of an edge of our area, along the edge of Chattanooga viewing area, is a severe thunderstorm warning until 6 a.m. Again, this is for parts of Monroe and McMinn counties. So that is where most of us are dealing with that very heavy rain, heavy frequent lightning, very noisy storms, and that is just building up in intensity the further south we look, along with some small hail. I had to turn the lightning off here just so you could even see the excessive rainfall, and then again that severe thunderstorm here that is moving across really that southern McMinn to Monroe County areas right into North Carolina for the next hour. So it's going to scoot through Delano here over the next 5 minutes. It'll be in Violet closer to 5:32, Ebenezer 5:45, going over into North Carolina. So then when we get into these strong storms with the hail, the frequent lightning, as well, really just very heavy rain. That's rolling across Madisonville over the next 15 minutes. Vonore closer to 5:30, Look Rock closer to 5:50. Picking up some very small hail in the Maryville area. Again, you've got a strong storm here, but that's going to be moving east across Sevier County over the next hour. Wares Valley closer to 5:20, Gatlinburg 5:35. Again, if we have a new warning, I will cut in immediately and let you know.
Heather, thank you. And you can definitely hear those storms out across East Tennessee this morning. We do want to get out to our Jared Austin. He joins us live from the Cedar Bluff area where, Jared, they're still cleaning up from Monday's storms. What are you seeing out there this morning, Jared?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot more thunder and a lot more lightning, actually hearing that thunder. And then we're seeing some of those heavy downpours that Heather was talking about. This is actually Bob Kirby Road, just near Bob Gray Road. That is still closed from Monday's storms. And then as we point this way, we'll just show you how much it is raining out here. It is let up ever so slightly, but it is still coming down really, really good in this area. We are staying inside of our live truck right now just because we can hear that thunder, like I'm sure you can hear it in the background. And then we're still seeing a lot of lightning in this area of Cedar Bluff near Bob Gray Road. So if you live in this area, you may want to stay inside at least for a little bit. You are seeing some ponding on the roads already. We're going to continue to update you with this. Any information we have, Heather's going to give you an hour by hour of what's going on with this. We'll have more information on this later in our show, Harry.
Yeah, Jared, thank you. You know, a lot of homes in our area have tarps on their roofs and just a lot of damage from those storms Monday and going through it again so far this morning.
Have you been watching?
An eye on this entire system for you. In your first alert forecast, we have multiple strong storms. Everybody's got the heavy rain. Throw in frequent lightning, but that's for the morning. Peak coverage morning. Scattered to then spotty storms gradually as the day goes on. We'll still have some isolated downpours and storms, but at least we'll see some cloud breaks this afternoon. That's when the temperature tries to hop up a bit. 75 at noon, high today around 80. But on that first alert futurecast, this more widespread kind of swath of heavy rain, frequent lightning. That is the story for the next couple of hours. It does at least start to come with some breaks on the plateau, closer to 7. Notice 7 7:30, still heavy rain, Knoxville and east. So that's the tail end of our WVLT first alert weather day for the morning hours here. And then we get into the 8 o'clock hour. Notice it's still pretty scattered, downpours, some rumbles of thunder, some moderate rain. We're working on decreasing from 60% of our area to 40% of our area by midday. Still some scattered rain and storms and lots of clouds midday into the afternoon. So layering that up with the forecast where you live, because ultimately the second half of the day is quieter. Not dry, not quiet, but quieter. Obviously, we're going down to this scattered coverage. We still have some scattered storms that want to cut through parts of the valley. A few cloud breaks late afternoon to evening, and that's that transition over to partly cloudy and spotty rain. So some big differences, mid 70s to low 80s in temperatures. I think you'll be closer to 80 Madisonville and Knoxville, but 79 Maryville, 77 Wartburg today to 76 Jamestown. Looking at a high of 77 in Stearns to 74 Barberville, 76 in Morristown to 77 in Newport, and there's a couple of those storms in the afternoon. Now this does continue to be spotty though into the evening and tonight. I want to jump ahead to tomorrow because I do think we're going to have a couple of storms coming through in the morning after today's saturated event, at least in addition to what we've already had. I'm posting every hour. In addition, we still have another ½ inch to an inch to come through most of our area. Some bands of 2+ inches, those flood alerts. That's part of the valley to northeast Tennessee. Still a few of those heavy downpours accumulating in spots on the plateau, as well as the Tennessee-Kentucky line. Then tomorrow we'll start off with a few storms. We'll keep it spotty through the afternoon to evening, but keep it very humid, a very steamy weekend ahead.
Heather, thanks. 519. Finally, some answers after a missing community art project is returned safely. The city of Jellicoe started a rock snake about a month ago. For weeks, kids have been adding their own painted rocks, but a few days ago, it was stolen. Heather Haley tracking those downpours and storms moving through. Good morning, Heather.
Good morning. I know, noisy, rude awakening. Hopefully you got a decent night's sleep, but for those of you who are waking up, we do have this massive frequent lightning, that thunder, very noisy, heavy rain on the roof as well. We're up to almost 1,000 lightning strikes in our area, and the bulk of that is just in the Southern Valley. I mean, look at that, how just kind of clustered up it is here between Meigs, Ray, McMinn, Bledsoe into Roane and Loudoun and Blount counties into Knox County, and then there is still lightning northwest, but really the most intense storms are in the southern half of our area. That's where we have this cluster of strong storms, heavy rain, frequent lightning, like I said, all part of the story. I was zoomed in just a moment ago on that flash flood warning for West Knox to Oak Ridge throughout Roane County. Use caution. We do still have a severe thunderstorm warning in southern McMinn and southern Monroe counties until 6 a.m. Really now we're looking at multiple strong storm cells that are coming along that southern edge of our area. Really multiple strong storms then with the heavy rain and frequent lightning reaching up into the Central Valley. And then you still have some bands of heavier rain rolling across the Tennessee-Kentucky line. It's only picked up the pace. Rolling across Middlesboro, 6:07 with this heavier downpour over Oneida towards Rose Hill at 6:30. You could see this cluster of heavy rain, some small hail, and then here's the back edge way over here. So that's where we finally can at least start to get a break over the next couple of hours, as that has to still move through our area. Right now in the thick of it with those stronger storms between Knoxville, parts of Sevier County, Pigeon Forge to Sevierville, most of Blount County, Loudoun County, McMinn and Monroe County. That's where we have the heaviest rain, the frequent lightning, again some small hail, and then the stronger storm that's severe is really just outside of our area, and that's kind of rolling along into the North Carolina side. So really very active weather for everyone in this WVLT First Alert weather day, leaving those temperatures in the upper 60s to right around 70 at 70 in Athens to La Follette. I'll show you when this whole back edge clears our area and how the rest of your day is looking coming up.
Heather, thanks. And a big concern this morning, of course, are the people who have been cleaning up from Monday's storms. Some people missing roofs, tarps on roofs, things like that as these storms come through this morning.
And we do want to get out to our Jared Austin, who joins us live from the Cedar Bluff area where people have been doing just that since Monday. Jared, what are you seeing so far this morning out there?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of the heavy rain at this point from today's storms, and we are seeing some flashes of lightning and hearing some of that thunder. We're actually going to point this way just to show you how much rain we are having right now. You can kind of see the trees are blowing really hard, but you already see a lot of damage from Monday's storms. There's down trees, down power lines, and the road that was behind me, Bob Kirby Road, is closed because of the damage done on Monday. But you can just see how heavy it is raining right now. It is probably best to stay at home at this point unless you have to be on the roadways. I understand some people have to get out to work, but it is just coming down so hard right now. That's why we are camping out inside, staying safe as we have some lightning and thunder rolling through here. But again, a lot of these people already dealing with damage from Monday storms. Now they have to worry about this. KUB is out actually still fixing some of the outages from Monday storms. We saw them about 2 miles away. So we're going to continue to follow this one, guys, because as you saw, just another flash of lightning. Heather was talking about all the lightning in this area, so we'll follow this one the rest of the morning to see if any more damage comes from this.
Yeah, and make sure you be patient with those crews. KUB even more going to be out twofold from what they were on Monday with all the power outages that we're even seeing this morning. Jared, you and Chris stay safe out there. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
And hundreds of homes across East Tennessee are still Morning. We do want to get to Chief Meteorologist Heather Haley tracking rain and storms.
Yeah, and again, we're just sending out new messages about flash flood warnings only being expanded into more of Blount and Loudoun counties as we deal with this swath of very heavy rain, frequent lightning. Notice that goes all the way up into southeastern Kentucky, but it really just becomes more concentrated in that southern to central valley, the area that was also hit the hardest on Monday. So right now we have a lot of strong storms, heavy rain, frequent lightning, and that isolated severe storm rolling along southern McMinn and southern Monroe. As we have sit in those upper 60s to right at 70 degrees. We also have those winds kicking up. You can see those gusts picking up to around 20 to 30 miles per hour in much of the valley, but even spiking up in some of these storm cells to 35 to 40. So again, that's where we're stepping up into that stronger threshold with trees that are honestly weaker, having very heavy rain earlier in the week, and now this system moving through, but at least it is moving out over the next couple of hours. So really, as we get into that 6:30 to 7 o'clock time frame, notice you've got more scattered rain and storms on the plateau. Back edge around 7 a.m. of the very, very heavy rain and thunderstorms. So really between 7:30 and 8, you want to use caution because you might be the first person to find some debris in the road or a tree down, a new one. I know there's a lot of leftovers from Monday. So use caution as we'll still have some scattered rain around 10 a.m., a couple of downpours and thunderstorms. But again, this is a first alert weather morning as a better way to look at it. The rest of the day is gradually clearing a little bit in the afternoon. We'll see some breaks in the clouds, gradually coming down on that coverage. All right, baby stepping down as the day goes on from scattered to spotty rain and storms by the afternoon. Still breezy for the afternoon, though, as temperatures then try to hop up into more upper 70s to around 80. So overlaying all this with those clouds, the scattered rain and thunderstorms still around noon. Notice they're dragging right here along northeast Tennessee to southeastern Kentucky, trying to drag down into the valley, but becoming spottier in the afternoon and at least trying to become partly cloudy. At 80 Knoxville to Madisonville to 81 in Kingston. Looking at the afternoon around 76 Crossville to 77 in Oneida and Stearns, 75 Middlesboro. I know it's noisy now, but this is an improvement. 78 Dandridge to Pigeon Forge. Now it's going to be very humid, feeling hotter as we get into the evening here with still a couple of storms trying to taper off a bit. We're going to round out the day here with a couple storms. Now we'll round out the week with a few more trying to come along the southern plateau to the southern valley for your Friday morning. Notice around Loudoun, McMinn, Monroe, Roan to Knox, Blount. We have a few storms in the morning, nowhere near as widespread, but still a few storms kick off the day tomorrow. We'll have spotty rain and storms still developing, and this is because it's very, very humid. So we're adding in a few more downpours in addition to today's more widespread inch-plus rainfall. You can see a few of those downpours add up tomorrow morning and then into the afternoon into the northeast Tennessee corner of our area. So I wanted to point that out here if you're trying to make your plans. Those of you still in cleanup mode, I know my parents out in West Knox County, they're with you there. Got no power, trees down, all the mess. But at least tomorrow it will become spottier on those storms, but it's also very, very humid. So if you are outdoors working, use some caution, stay hydrated. Tomorrow's 87, feels more like the low 90s. We'll actually continue to feel about 5 to 7 degrees warmer all weekend. That means it feels like it's closer to 100 on Sunday, with isolated storms continuing to develop this weekend ahead of a front's scattered storms that'll be here by Monday afternoon to evening.
Heather, thank you. 546. We do want to get a look at your first alert traffic. Hard to find a square inch of dry road anywhere west of the Tri-Cities. Take a look at that heavy ponding all across East Tennessee this morning into downtown Knoxville. Those accidents and
North Carolina side at 60 miles per hour. It is flying, so that's going to be moving out of our area, and that is the last of that warning. Technically expires at 6 a.m. You can see most of that is actually further south, so just that northern edge of that storm reached up into southern McMinn and southern Monroe. What most of us are dealing with is that heavy rain and frequent lightning. So if you had that rude awakening from that thunder this morning, keep in mind this is what's impacting that first alert traffic. We do have flood advisories and flood warnings. Monroe County, almost all of Blount County, almost all of Knox County, southern Anderson, all of Roane, all of Loudoun, southern Morgan County. So the heart of our area where some of the busiest streets are for morning commute, already dealing with some of those flood alerts. Again, the rain, the heavy downpours and the lightning are area wide, but there's that back edge. So there is an end in sight, and we'll continue to track that for you coming up.
Heather, thanks. Well, you want to check your fridge. Right now, some kiwis sold in Tennessee are under a recall because of possible listeria contamination. The FDA announced the keeping an eye on damage. Chief Meteorologist Heather Haley, though, tracking it all for us this morning.
Yeah, let's start here because we do have that widespread impact of heavy rain and frequent lightning. This is actually an improvement, but for those of you getting that rude awakening, believe me, if it's noisy where you live, that's all you care about. I get it. We're at about 575 lightning strikes in our area now. It's just shy of 1,000 in the last hour. So this is actually an improvement. But yes, I know it is still messy and it is still noisy. We are actually getting some of the highest rainfall readings and flash flood warnings to go with it. South and West Knox County, North Blount County, pretty much all of Loudoun, all of Roane, and then Southern Anderson, Oak Ridge to Oliver Springs. That's kind of the heart of it. That's where you have your flash flood warnings. And then your flood advisories branch out a little further. So the likelihood of finding not just ponding on the roads, but even some high water creeks and streams and rivers running high, that would be right here in that flood warning. So layering it all up here, you can see we actually have some of the heaviest rain, that frequent lightning, plus some small hail that has all moved through the southern to central valley. That's where we've had the most intense rainfall and thunderstorms over the past couple of hours as that continues to track east across our area. But that back edge, look at that, it's right there. It's knocking at our back door. So in this situation, because it is so widespread, how about I tell you when it's going to leave? You're going to have that moving out of Crossville closer to 5:20 Central Time. Watts Bar Lake closer to 6:39. As we get closer to 7 in Loudoun, you're going to at least get that break there. Now notice it's not completely dry further west, but it is going to be a break. So the issues with the flooding potential, the issues with that frequent lightning, that'll continue to step down. In the thick of it though, we are hanging out in those 60s. We are hanging out with those soggy conditions. So we'll talk more about that clearing ahead here in a moment.
Heather, thank you. Sneaking up on 6:02, taking a look at your first alert traffic. Here's that road weather index, heavy ponding all across East Tennessee on our roads into downtown Knoxville. Everything's starting to pile up and slow down. This is I-40 west, right at Hall of Fame Drive. You have a multi-vehicle accident there. Everything 640 Pellissippi Parkway starting to see some big slowdowns. Then on I-75 right at 321 going northbound, a tractor trailer has flipped over, and that's what shut down that on-ramp heading on to 321 from northbound on I-75. Back into downtown on I-40 at Hall of Fame Drive. Getting it a little more clear than we saw earlier. We were at a slow crawl. That's starting to pick up. If you have to leave right now, just take your time, slow down, be careful out there on the roads. If you don't have to be anywhere soon, just stay inside. And some of you still dealing with that cleanup from Monday's storms.
Yeah, Jared Austin is live in the Cedar Bluff area this morning, tracking some of the damage. And Jared, what are you seeing out there this morning?
Yeah, like you said, we're still seeing a lot of the damage from Monday's storm, and then the storms rolling through here just making it a little bit worse. It's getting a little heavier rainfall. It's actually lightened up just a bit. We already have some road close signs from Monday's storm, so people are not able to get on Bob Kirby Road from Bob Gray Road. But we're just going to show you outside. We're staying in our live truck because we're still seeing a lot of lightning and hearing some of the thunder, so we're making sure we're staying safe. But from about 5:30 right now, actually, we're seeing a little bit lighter rain. It was a lot heavier half an hour ago. But just off in these people's yards, we're seeing down trees. We've seen down power lines. Again, roads closed. We've also known that some people are tarping their roofs just because they have holes there and they don't want any of this rain to come through their homes and cause more damage. But right now, rain has let up a little bit. You can still see some of that lightning off in the distance towards the east of us. We're going to continue to follow this one. We know there might be more storms heading this way, so we'll continue to follow that. But again, people still picking up from Monday's storms, possibly having to pick up again from these storms, guys.
All right, our Jared Austin reporting live for us this morning. Jared, thanks. And right now, Knoxville's Lakeshore Park is still closed as crews continue to remove uproots.
difference. Remember, sunrise is getting into that 7 o'clock hour, really, so it's going to take some time to be able to see any potential hazards on the roads. 6:30, you start to see those breaks in the rain, still drenching rains up through the valley, moving east around 7:30, so already buses would have been on the roads. 7:30 to 8, we can wrap up that first alert, and so everyone use caution because you might be the first to come across some of that high water, the down trees, as we have scattered rain and rumbles of thunder then getting into that mid to late morning. So huge improvement there in terms of any leftover high water being able to recede, any down trees being able to be removed. Notice around noon hour, we still have a few more storms that want to start developing, so that's when we'll flip that switch though and continue to decrease that coverage and of course come out of our first alert for the morning hours. 74 at noon. Right around 80 this afternoon. In the forecast where you live, it does vary greatly. So we're still going to have a steamy afternoon and still some storms, but notice around 1:30 scattered across northeast Tennessee to southeastern Kentucky and continue to drop south and east. A couple of downpours and storms trying to come into the valley to foothills to mountains. In that forecast where you live, that's when we'll see a few cloud breaks. That'll put you at 80 Knoxville, 82 Loudon, put you at 76 this afternoon. Still a few storms around Crossville, 77 Oneida, got 75 for you in Jellicoe to Tazewell this afternoon. And then again, you can see a couple of those storms even in that 4 o'clock hour. Parts of Knox, parts of Dandridge area, parts of Greene County, and that gives us this uneven warming of upper 70s to around 80. Continue with those few storms becoming spottier as we get into the late evening and overnight hours. As we work that down, we still have those downpours moving through our area. Again, bulk of this continues this morning. And then a few more storms still have to fill in during your afternoon. So use caution. But at least the worst of the flooding risks is over the next hour, and then we can wrap up that first alert. Now in the morning tomorrow, we will have a few storms lifting into our area, southern to central valley. Here you can see that around 7 to 8, but at least overall we'll keep rain and storms developing in a spotty coverage, but that's because of how humid it's going to be. It's going to stay very steamy. It's going to feel like low 90s. Friday into Saturday, it'll actually feel like upper 90s on Sunday. That's that high humidity at play creating the spotty storms. And then we'll have the next system approach us. It's a cold front. So Monday, at least, while we have more storms headed our way, we can feel an improvement behind it. That's why there's a couple of cooler mornings there. That's at least a break in that humidity.
Heather, thanks. 6:13 on this Thursday morning. Getting a look at your first alert traffic. A big accident right now on I-75. A tractor trailer overturned. This is northbound 75 on the access ramp to 321. That is completely shut down. Traffic seems to be moving fine northbound on 75, but really if you're trying to get off of 321, you're going to have to find another way there. And then into downtown Knoxville, just starting to look a little bit better than it was a couple minutes ago. This is an accident, I-40 westbound, right at Hall of Fame, a multi-vehicle accident. They've been able to get most of those cars out of the way. Still some first responders on the scene. You can see the flashing lights there. The weather not helping, obviously, this morning, ponding all across East Tennessee. Those are your two big incidents so far. Still running pretty slow out there, so make sure you slow down. If you don't have to leave right now, just stay home for now.
Burns, the ring of fire, the ring of...
We're getting
6:20 now, in the thick of it here as we are continuing to track these downpours and thunderstorms. We do have that active flash flood warning. Now, I wanted to highlight this. I've actually given it more of a high-res look on that radar. So you can see it's at least starting to lighten up in Roane County. But again, you're in that flash flood warning until 9:15. This is why Knox County schools are on a 2-hour delay. This does reach into parts of Knox County, Loudoun County, and then really all of Roane County. Now, the other active flash flood warning that we have here is centered up over South Knox County as well. This one goes until 9:45. This includes Blount County, again, all of Loudoun County, and then over into Roane. So that's Roane, Loudoun, Knox, Southern Anderson, even really, that's been in the thick of it with the excessive rainfall. And that's why we have these flash flood warnings. So anytime that you can kind of give yourself to wait to get on the roads is a good idea. Remember, our WVLT First Alert Weather Day continues into that mid 7 o'clock hour. This back edge will at least give us a chance for some of the high water to recede. Then we'll transition over to some scattered rain and storms. So we'll continue to track this for you coming up.
Singing, call back the fire, draw the missiles down.
Knox north to south, Knox cutting through downtown into the northern half of Blount County and most of Loudoun County. So you can see centered up, that's where we've had the heaviest rain. Everybody's dealing with heavy rain and frequent lightning, but we've really had stronger storms and the most intense rainfall coming up in that southern to central valley. So again, you can see that flash flood warning highlighted there. Those continue until 9:15 and 9:45, but this back edge, at least there is an end in sight. That's why it's said it's good news that it's speeding up, because here in about an hour, at least that back edge will be in Knoxville. Now notice there's still some more rain and storms, but it's not this uniform constant rainfall. So that back edge will be moving through Rockwood closer to 6:45, closer to Oak Ridge 7:08, downtown Knoxville 7:25. So then those flash flood warnings continue to make sure that water is actually receding. Now there's flood advisories that reach further out. That includes more of Monroe, more of Blount, Sevier County, Jefferson County, getting into more of Anderson County to southern Morgan and Meigs Ray Bledsoe. So obviously it's a very active morning, but at least this is also a good thing that Knox County Schools just issued that 2-hour delay, because by around 9 a.m. we'll have scattered storms. I'll show you that track here in just a moment.
Heather, thank you. We do want to get a look at your first alert traffic. A lot going on this morning. We just showed you this I-40 at Lovell Road. We were down to one lane for about 5 minutes there. Looks to be getting more open right now. Let's take a look at that traffic map. You can see that slowdown backed up from Lovell Road way past Campbell Station Road, so keep that in mind. But that looks like it's getting a little better. We've also got an accident, an overturned tractor trailer on I-75 northbound in Loudoun County, right on the on-ramp to 321. You can just make out that tractor trailer with the lights on. A lot of flashing lights. You're going to have to slow down heavily when you move through that area. And then I-40 at Hall of Fame Drive looking much better than it was about 30 minutes ago. Still slow moving out there across roads and highways in East Tennessee. Slow down, keep those low beams on, get your fog lights on, and just be careful on your way out this morning. And a lot of people still cleaning up from that EF2 tornado and those storms that moved through on Monday.
Yeah, we do want to get out to our Jared Austin, who is in some of the areas of West Knoxville hit by some of those storms on Monday. And Jared, I know a lot of people there were worried as this next round moves through.
Yeah, they already started prepping for some of their houses after they had holes in the roof, so they put tarps down. But we're still seeing a lot of damage in this area. We've seen down power lines, down trees, and actually this road is still closed. This is Bob Kirby Road. Nobody's getting through there right now, but we also want to show you what it looks like out here rain-wise. It's been steady falling like this for about 30 minutes now, a little bit lighter than what we saw around 5 or 5:30. But in this person's yard in front of us, you can see some of those down trees, at least I can from my vantage point. But this is what it looks like right now. The thunder and lightning, not as frequent as we had earlier, but we are still seeing it ever so often. So we're going to continue to follow this. We're staying in our live truck right now just for safety reasons, just because we still can see that thunder and lightning. We have seen some people on the roadways. If you don't have to be on the roads, probably best to stay off those roads because of flooding issues. We're going to continue to follow this one, guys. This is still developing. We're still seeing a lot of rain and some of that thunder and lightning.
All right, Jared, thanks for that update. Stay safe out there.
6:33, hundreds of homes across East Tennessee.
To Loudoun, to Knox, to Anderson, and then really blunt into severe is where we get into a flood advisory, meaning flooding is possible, especially around those creeks and streams, and even really urban areas. You get into a parking lot, there's poor drainage. These can be the problems. But notice at least there is an end in sight, literally. Now it's a spotty downpour thunderstorm in Cumberland County, but that's where we're transitioning over from this widespread coverage for your morning hours. Now there's still some visibility issues to go with that moderate to heavy rain that's on the edge of the plateau and east. So use caution as you're getting out the door this morning, no matter what. Throw in some winds, but throw in the fact that the ground's saturated. Trees are a little looser. After Monday's storms, they could topple a little easier. We do have those gusts kicking up to around 30 to 35 miles per hour in parts of Knox County to Union County to Anderson County and up into the Smokies at the moment. As we move forward with today, though, we're going to continue to move out that whole batch of downpours and thunderstorms. So the first alert is focused on this morning. Scattered to then spotty rain and storms the rest of today. That's when temperatures try to hop up more upper 70s to around 80. As that back edge then approaches in the valley in the 7 o'clock hour, notice more spotty to scattered rain and storms between Crossville, Wartburg, La Follette. Try to peel that back. Our first alert still on track around 7:30 to 8 to have that coverage drop off, the intensity drop off. But no, it's not completely dry. It's still cloudy, scattered rain, some rumbles of thunder. Mid to late morning, this continues. Midday, notice there's still a few more storms. I wanted to layer that up with all the clouds and the impacts to temperatures, because this is our brief window that we can try to warm into more 70s to right around 80 degrees. That'll take us with scattered rain and storms becoming spotty in the afternoon and trying to become partly cloudy. Some uneven warming. I think you can get closer to 83 Athens, 82 Kingston to 80 Knoxville, but 79 Maryville and Clinton, 76 Crossville to 77 this afternoon, Oneida, 74 Barberville to 75 Tazewell, and 76 in Morristown. Now it's going to feel warmer. Very, very humid conditions, obviously, after all this rain. And then we'll continue to have some strands of rain and storms developing at times, really staying spotty tonight, though. Tomorrow morning, I am seeing a couple lift up towards the plateau to the south to Central Valley. We'll have a few more storms, but obviously notice the coverage is nowhere near what it is this morning. So that impact is minimized here, but a few downpours and storms here in parts of our area tomorrow morning. We'll keep it spotty throughout the day and throughout your weekend. And this is part of keeping that humidity very high. Tomorrow's high 87. Perfectly normal, but it's going to feel more like the low 90s, feeling more like the low to even some mid 90s for the afternoon on Saturday. Very humid conditions, again, spotty storms. Actually, I feel more like the upper 90s on Sunday because of the steamy setup here. And then we do have a front approaching, bringing us some scattered storms again later on Monday.
Heather, thank you.